32,000 feet above the western Pacific, east of Honshu, Japan. The sky is clean and cold, washed in fading daylight, the ocean below a dark sheet of steel. Inside the cockpit of an F-35A Lightning II, tail number classified, everything is supposed to be routine. The engine's low growl is steady. The heads-up display floats perfectly in front of the pilot's visor. Data streams silently from satellites, radar and sensors fused into a single, seamless picture. This aircraft is not meant to surprise its pilot. And yet, something is wrong. A warning tone cuts through the cockpit. Not loud, not frantic, just precise enough to make the pilot's shoulders tighten. A cascade of symbols blooms across the display. One fault becomes two become several. The F-35's computer, designed to diagnose and isolate failures before a human ever notices them, is suddenly very busy. Then comes the transmission. Across air traffic control screens in Japan, a single code flashes into existence. JIM 700, the universal signal, emergency, catastrophic failure, no room for interpretation. Controllers at Misawa Air Base lean forward. Civilian radar stations along Japan's coast cross-check their displays. The aircraft is still there, still moving, still transmitting. But the tone of the situation has shifted instantly from routine monitoring to something far more serious. Inside the cockpit, the pilot's breathing is controlled, trained. Every motion is muscle memory now. Checklists appear automatically, prioritized by the jet's artificial intelligence. The F-35 is supposed to fly itself through moments like this, buying the pilot time. But time is becoming the one thing slipping away. The Lightning II is the most expensive fighter aircraft ever built. A fifth-generation stealth platform designed to dominate airspace before the enemy even knows it's there. Its radar signature is smaller than a marble. Its sensors can track targets hundreds of kilometers away. It is, on paper, the embodiment of American industrial and technological supremacy. It is not supposed to be fragile. The pilot calls in, voice-clipped, professional, no panic, just facts. The words are short, controlled, and carefully chosen. Something critical has failed. Systems are no longer responding as expected. The jet is no longer behaving like the machine it was designed to be. Then the transmission cuts. Radar operators watch the symbol continue eastward, out over open water. The Pacific waits below, vast and indifferent. There are no cities here, no emergency runways, no room for error. For a brief moment, the aircraft stabilizes. Altitude holds. Speed remains steady. On the ground, some allow themselves to believe the worst has passed. Maybe it's a sensor glitch. Maybe the jet can limp home. Then, without warning, the radar return flickers once, twice, and disappears. No explosion, no debris trail, no final transmission, just empty sky where the most advanced fighter on Earth had been seconds before. Silence spreads across the control rooms. Controllers call out the aircraft's identifier again and again. Emergency frequencies remain unanswered. Backup radars search the volume of sky where the F-35 should be. Military sensors sweep the area. Satellites are tasked. Ships in the region are alerted. Nothing. In the hours that follow, speculation ignites behind closed doors. A technical malfunction. The F-35 program has battled software instability, sensor fusion errors, and maintenance challenges since its inception. Millions of lines of code run this aircraft. If something went wrong deep inside that digital nervous system, could the pilot have been fighting a machine that no longer obeyed its own logic, or something else? Because this stretch of sky is not empty in the strategic sense. Foreign surveillance aircraft operate at the edges of Japanese airspace. Naval vessels pass through nearby waters. Electronic warfare platforms are known to probe, listen, test. No one says the words out loud yet, but the thought hangs in the air. External interference, jamming powerful enough to blind sensors, spoofing that feeds false data to the aircraft. A cyber intrusion that turns the F-35's greatest strength, its total reliance on fused digital awareness, into a liability. Officially, nothing is confirmed. Unofficially, the disappearance sends a shockwave through defense circles worldwide. If an F-35 can simply vanish, leaving behind only a 7,700 squawk and unanswered questions, then something fundamental may have gone wrong. Search and rescue aircraft are scrambled. Destroyers adjust course. Helicopters begin low sweeps over the ocean's surface as darkness closes in. Every minute that passes lowers the odds. And somewhere beneath the rolling Pacific, if the aircraft did go down, secrets worth billions of dollars may now be resting on the seabed. The night deepens. The ocean gives nothing back. The Pacific does not reveal its secrets easily. Within minutes of the radar loss, the quiet professionalism of Japan's air defense network transforms into controlled urgency. At Misawa Air Base, phones ring without pause. Coordinates are relayed, recalculated, refined again and again. The last known position of the F-35A is plotted onto digital maps, then expanded into a widening oval of uncertainty. An aircraft traveling at hundreds of knots can disappear into an enormous volume of sky in seconds. Search and rescue protocols activate automatically. Japan. Maritime Self-Defense Force destroyers already patrolling nearby waters alter course, their sleek hulls cutting through the darkening sea. Helicopters lift off, with searchlights slung beneath their fuselages. Crews staring down into endless black water, broken only by whitecaps. Above them, patrol aircraft begin long, methodical racetrack patterns, radar sweeping, infrared sensors searching for heat where none should remain. But there is no fire on the water, no oil slick, no floating debris. If the Lightning II struck the ocean at speed, it would have shattered instantly, scattering fragments across miles of sea. Anything should be visible by now. In command centers, officers replay the final seconds on loop. The radar track, the altitude, the speed. The moment the transponder vanished, analysts lean in, measuring the spacing between data points, searching for a telltale sign of breakup, sudden descent, or violent maneuver. They find none. The aircraft did not plunge. It did not climb. It simply ceased. This is not how crashes normally look. The F-35 is designed with multiple redundancies, triple redundant flight controls, backup power systems. Even in catastrophic engine failure, the aircraft should leave a trail of clues: a mayday call, a change in flight profile, an ejection seat beacon. There is no emergency locator signal. That absence is deeply unsettling. Somewhere in the room, an intelligence officer quietly asks the question everyone else is thinking. What if it didn't crash? The words hang there uninvited. Because if the aircraft didn't hit the water, then where is it? As the search expands, the political machinery begins to stir. Tokyo notifies Washington. Secure lines light up in the Pentagon. Within hours, senior officials are briefed on what little is known. The phrase "ongoing investigation" appears in carefully worded statements, while behind closed doors, the tone is far sharper. The F-35A is not just a fighter jet, it is a flying vault. Its radar-absorbent materials, its sensor architecture, its data links. All of it is among the most tightly guarded military technology on Earth. If the aircraft went down intact or even partially intact, it would become the most valuable prize on the ocean floor. And the Pacific is not empty of competitors. Submarines from multiple nations operate silently in these waters. Research vessels can appear innocent while quietly mapping the seabed. Deep-sea recovery capabilities exist far beyond what is publicly acknowledged. Every minute matters. Search efforts intensify through the night. Helicopter crews strain their eyes until they burn. Sonar buoys are dropped, listening for echoes of wreckage or the faintest metallic return. The ocean answers with nothing but its own restless movement. The water beneath is the scale of the challenge becomes even if wreckage is located, recovery would be slow, expensive, and politically explosive. And still, no signal emerges from the pilot's survival equipment. That silence brings a different weight, a human weight. Somewhere in this story is a trained aviator, a person whose name is still withheld, whose family has not yet been told anything definitive. The machinery of states and militaries moves quickly, but there are limits even technology cannot overcome. As daylight spreads across the Pacific, intelligence analysts begin looking outward instead of down. Electronic surveillance logs are pulled, spectrum recordings reviewed, radar anomalies flagged. Any unusual emissions, spikes, or interference near the aircraft's last position are examined frame by frame. Nothing conclusive appears. Yet the absence itself is troubling. Modern electronic warfare leaves fingerprints. Jamming creates noise. Spoofing leaves patterns. Cyber intrusion requires access paths. To interfere with an F-35 without leaving evidence would require extraordinary capability or something entirely unexpected. Speculation begins leaking beyond classified walls. Was there a cascading software failure, a logic loop that overwhelmed the flight control system? Could the aircraft's dependence on sensor fusion have become its weakness, feeding the pilot a reality that no longer matched the physical world? Or did something else share the sky that evening? Foreign militaries deny involvement. Official statements emphasize cooperation and safety. No one accuses anyone else. Not yet. But the strategic shock is already rippling outward. Allied air forces quietly review their own procedures. Test pilots re-examine emergency protocols. Engineers dig into code that was assumed to be mature, stable, proven. Because if the most advanced fighter in history can vanish without a trace, then the margin of certainty every modern military depends on may be thinner than anyone wants to admit. Out over the Pacific, the search continues, and the question remains unanswered. Did the pride of American industry fall victim to its own complexity? Or did something unseen reach out from the darkness of the modern battle space? By the third day, the ocean is no longer the only thing under scrutiny. In secure facilities across Japan and the United States, analysts shift their focus from waves and wreckage to data, terabytes of it. Every transmission the F-35 sent in its final hour, every radar sweep that brushed its airframe, every electronic whisper in the electromagnetic spectrum near the jet's last known position. The absence of debris is no longer just puzzling. It is becoming the story. Normally, an aircraft accident leaves a pattern. Metal reflects radar. Fuel leaves a sheen. Explosions leave signatures visible from orbit. But here, there is only a clean break in the record, as if the aircraft stepped out of the physical world for a moment and never returned. Engineers begin reconstructing the flight second by second inside simulators. They feed in known parameters: altitude, speed, weather. System warnings reported before the transmission ended. The digital ghost of the aircraft flies again and again, branching into thousands of possible failure paths. Most end the same way: loss of control, violent descent, a clear impact. None explain the silence. Attention turns to the F-35's defining feature: sensor fusion. Unlike older fighters, the Lightning II does not show raw data to the pilot. It interprets the world first. Radar, infrared, electronic support measures, and satellite feeds are merged into a single coherent picture. The pilot sees what the aircraft believes is real. That system is powerful and dangerous. If corrupted even briefly, the aircraft could be fighting itself. A misaligned inertial reference, a corrupted timing signal, a software conflict that convinces the jet it is level when it is not, safe when it is not, intact when it is not. In such a scenario, the pilot's inputs would be based on a lie, one delivered with total confidence by the machine. This possibility unsettles even veteran designers. Then there is the code 7700 itself. The pilot had time to declare a general emergency. That suggests awareness, consciousness, a moment of choice. Whatever happened was not instantaneous. It unfolded quickly, but not faster than human reaction. And yet, there was no ejection. Modern ejection seats are designed to save pilots from situations far worse than this. The fact that none was initiated points toward a window of confusion rather than sudden terror. A cockpit filled with warnings, but no single clear instruction to abandon the aircraft. As this theory gains traction, another line of inquiry advances quietly alongside it. Electronic warfare logs show anomalies, not clear attacks, not obvious jamming, but brief distortions in spectrum usage near the time and location of the disappearance, the kind that might be dismissed under normal circumstances. The kind that now refuse to be ignored. They do not prove interference, they prove possibility. To compromise an F-35 externally would require extraordinary sophistication. The jet is hardened against jamming, shielded against cyber intrusion, and designed to operate even in hostile electromagnetic environments, but no system is invulnerable. Especially not one that relies on perfect integration between software, sensors, and satellites. Disrupt the timing, delay the data, inject noise at just the wrong moment. The result might not be an explosion or a dramatic failure, but something far subtler: disorientation. As analysts debate behind sealed doors, the public narrative remains cautious. Official briefings emphasize ongoing search efforts. The words crash and interference are avoided. Families are asked for patience. Allies are reassured. But among those who understand the implications, the disappearance has already crossed a threshold. If this was an internal failure, it raises uncomfortable questions about complexity and trust in autonomous systems. If it was external, then the balance of modern air power may have quietly shifted without a single shot being fired. Out on the water, the search continues with diminishing hope. Sonar scans reveal nothing but geological features and the occasional false return. The Pacific keeps its silence, and in that silence confidence erodes. Because warfare in the 21st century is no longer about who has the biggest bomb or the fastest jet. It is about who controls information, perception, and reality itself. The F-35 was built to dominate that realm. Now it has vanished inside it. By the end of the first week, the tone shifts. Search and rescue quietly becomes search and assessment. The difference is not announced, but everyone involved understands it. Helicopters are reassigned, patrol patterns widen, then thin. The ocean has given no sign that it will surrender answers. What remains is risk management. Because if the aircraft is gone for good, then the next question is not where it is, but who might reach it first. Naval planners study bathymetric charts, tracing undersea ridges and trenches beneath the last known coordinates. Some areas plunge beyond practical recovery depth. Others, while still extreme, fall within the theoretical capabilities of advanced deep-sea operations. Those areas receive attention. Quietly, additional naval assets appear in the region. Their movements are routine on paper. Training exercises, logistics support, freedom of navigation operations. None of it is unusual. All of it is deliberate. The concern is not the loss of one aircraft. It is the loss of what it represents. The F-35 carries within it decades of research, materials engineered to scatter radar waves, antennas woven seamlessly into the airframe, software that decides in fractions of a second what matters and what does not. Even damaged, even submerged, pieces of that system could reveal more than any adversary has managed to learn through espionage alone. In previous eras, crashed aircraft were tragic but limited events. Today, they are intelligence windfalls. This reality presses heavily on commanders as they weigh options that cannot be discussed openly. Recovery operations at extreme depth are slow. Public acknowledgement invites scrutiny, and every additional day increases the chance that someone else is already listening on the seabed. Meanwhile, engineers and pilots continue to replay the final moments in their minds. One detail refuses to fade. The aircraft never broke radio silence again. If systems failed progressively, there should have been another transmission. A partial update, a clipped sentence, even a burst of telemetry. The F-35 is designed to talk constantly, automatically, even when the pilot cannot. That silence suggests either total power loss or intentional shutdown. The second possibility is uncomfortable. Intentional shutdown does not imply sabotage. It could mean the aircraft's systems, detecting corrupted inputs or internal contradictions, entered a protective state, a kind of digital paralysis. In attempting to save itself from erroneous data, the jet may have locked out both itself and its pilot, a machine choosing inaction over uncertainty. This is the paradox of autonomy. The smarter the system, the more it must decide when not to trust itself. And in rare, catastrophic edge cases, those decisions may be irreversible. As these ideas circulate, training units across the world quietly receive updated guidance. Not announcements, not directives, just revisions. Emphasis on manual reversion, on raw instrument cross-checks, on questioning what the screen shows when the body feels something different. The Lightning II fleet continues flying. But now every pilot knows there's a ghost in the data. Diplomatically, the incident leaves ripples. Allies ask questions, not accusatory ones. Careful ones, about redundancy, about resilience, about what happens when the invisible foundations of modern warfare crack. No evidence of hostile action is released. None is confirmed. But the silence itself becomes a kind of message. Something happened in that sky over the Pacific that cannot be easily explained, and explanations are power. As the official search winds down, the ocean resumes its ancient role as keeper of secrets. Whatever lies beneath its surface will remain there for years, perhaps decades, shaping decisions in ways unseen. The F-35 was designed to dominate the future battlefield. Its disappearance forces an unsettling realization. In a world of machines that think, decide, and interpret reality faster than humans ever could, the greatest vulnerability may not be the enemy. It may be uncertainty itself. Weeks pass. The Pacific returns to its routines. Shipping lanes fill again. Patrol routes normalize. Officially, the incident is categorized, filed, and reduced to language that can survive press briefings without igniting panic. An aircraft was lost. The cause remains under investigation. No further details at this time, but among those who were closest to it, the event refuses to fade. Pilots talk quietly in ready rooms, lowering their voices without realizing it. Engineers stare longer at diagnostic readouts. Intelligence officers read between lines that were never meant to be connected. The disappearance becomes a reference point, a before and after moment that reshapes how confidence is defined, because something fundamental has changed. The F-35 did not fall in combat. It was not defeated by a visible enemy. It vanished inside the very systems designed to make it invulnerable. This is the part no official statement can fully address. Modern air power is no longer about muscle. It is about perception. About fusing thousands of inputs into a single, trusted picture of reality. The Lightning II was built on the assumption that this picture, while imperfect, would always be more accurate than any human interpretation. That assumption now carries an asterisk. Somewhere in the Pacific, a moment occurred when the aircraft, the pilot, and the digital environment ceased to agree on what was real. Whether that moment was born of flawed code, environmental edge cases, or unseen interference may never be conclusively proven, but its implications are already felt. Designers begin talking about graceful degradation instead of perfect fusion, about systems that admit doubt instead of hiding it, about giving pilots clearer visibility into uncertainty rather than smoother illusions of certainty. History has seen this pattern before. The first ironclad ships were thought unsinkable until they were sunk. Early radar was believed infallible until it was fooled. Every leap forward in military technology carries with it a hidden lesson, revealed only when something goes wrong. The Lightning II's lesson may be that dominance built on invisibility can itself become invisible when it fails. The ocean, meanwhile, remains unmoved. If the aircraft lies intact in its depths, it will slowly become part of the seabed, coated in salt, pressure, and time. If it shattered, its fragments will scatter, unrecognizable to anyone who does not know precisely what to look for. Either way, the sky where it vanished holds no memory of it now. Only the data does, and the questions. In years to come, this incident may be referenced in footnotes, in technical briefings, in lessons learned that never reach public ears. It may quietly shape doctrines, designs, and decisions far removed from the coordinates where it all began, or it may remain what it is now, an unanswered disappearance, a 7700 code frozen in time, a reminder that even the most advanced machines ever built can be undone by what cannot be seen, touched, or fully understood. Above the Pacific, the air is still, empty, and somewhere between certainty and doubt, the ghost of the Lightning II continues to fly.